I'm here on the floor of the Global Energy Show with Heather Exner-Pirot. She is a senior fellow with the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. It's based in Ottawa, but she is based here in Alberta as its, what's the official title? The Energy Boss? What's your official title?
Director of Energy, Natural Resources, and Environment.
It's a good, if you're going to have one of those, it's good to have them in Alberta.
Covers the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, turns out we're nearly neighbors, actually.
Yeah. Kids will be going around the same place, playing the same sports fields anyways.
Yeah, well, but yours can babysit mine. They're a little older. All right, well, is this your first time at the Energy Show?
No, I was here last year, actually. So,
Okay.
yeah, second time around. Second time's a charm.
Yeah, it's been around, it's 60 odd years now. I would have really liked to be here like 60 years ago when it's just like a couple of roughnecks or something showing off their new pump jacks. I don't know, but it's this huge event now. We've got there's Korean nuke guys there, and there's hydrogen people over there.
Yeah.
Nigeria, Norway.
Premiers, ministers, we got everything.
The
Yeah.
OPEC.
Yeah,
Majesty,
Secretary
His
General,
Majesty of OPEC, whatever the official title is there. That was a big get here.
Yeah.
Notably, no senior officials, though, from the federal government. It's a federal government that campaigned on elbows up, and we're done with the frivolous stuff. The Trudeau years, they didn't even happen, guys. This is a totally new government. Totally new. And it's no nonsense. It's going to be one Canadian economy. We're going to get serious. We're going to do big projects again. But Prime Minister Carney not here. I was surprised to see Tim Hodgson, the new Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, not here.
Yeah.
The new Environment Minister who replaced Stephen Guilbeault, that would have been a harder sell. She'd have to have real thick skin to show her face around here. Stephen Guilbeault showed up, though. But Tim, are you surprised to not see Tim Hodgson here? Because he was here, spoke to the Calgary Chamber of Commerce just a few weeks ago, said the right things, I think. I think people walked out of that thinking, maybe they're serious. We're going to have to wait and see how the actions fit it. But are you surprised not to see him here, at least, try to make a peace offering?
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised to see him here. He'd be welcome here.
I think he would.
Certainly people have optimism about what he's saying and doing. And to his credit, he has been to Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, Winnipeg, at least. Anyway, so he's making the rounds in Western Canada and putting his, saying the right things. Anyway, so I don't know if it was a scheduling issue or because they're trying to push through C5 before the summer sitting or that kind of thing. But too bad he's not here. Hopefully next year.
Maybe it's a scheduling thing. I don't know. But on the Canadian energy calendar, this is Super Bowl. This is the big one. I don't know. Do you want to too political to speculate about why?
Wilkinson came to the World Petroleum Congress when it was held in Calgary and gave a speech that hit like a lead balloon. So maybe there wasn't too much pressure,
Sorry, who was that?
That was Wilkinson.
Okay, Wilkinson.
Yeah, when he was the Minister of Energy. Did not go over well. So maybe before we knew it was Hodgson, maybe for the organizers not knowing who would be the minister, what would be the reception, maybe there wasn't a push to invite, maybe.
He was invited. I know people. Okay. But it's kind of a reset. I think we know a lot of the same people in downtown Calgary here running oil and gas companies. And, they're pretty damn skeptical. These guys are not going to be won overnight. But Carney at least sounded less... they don't know which Carney they're speaking to. Is it the guy who wrote the values book? Or is it the guy we saw on the campaign trail? And, he would not be the first politician to, have say one thing at one time and then say something different, depending on the political context. That happens, and people of all political stripes do it. That's not a uniquely liberal thing to do. Which Carney's going to show up. But there's been an openness, especially since Hodgson, I think, spoke at the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know, what's the sense that you're getting from these guys about how serious the industry is taking the I'm falling into their propaganda language. The revamped re-elected Liberal government. How open to them are they right now, or how skeptical?
Yeah, well, I mean, trust needs to be built for sure, but I would say there's cautious optimism. I think if you were to say a year ago and tell us, that a Liberal Prime Minister would be saying we need to be an energy superpower, that a Liberal Minister of Energy would say we need to build big things, and as a partner and is coming to Calgary, with very reciprocal energy, I think we would have been surprised and we would have been pleased. So I'm willing, it's only been 6 weeks they've been in power, certainly willing to try that honeymoon period and to see that, what they're saying, can they translate that into implementation? I have to say Hodgson and Carney in particular very recently came from the private sector and know what that actually means and knows when they're saying that they're promising big things, they know what that actually needs to look like on the ground. But at some point, the honeymoon will be over. At some point, some of the easier policy changes they could make will need to be made, or people will start to be skeptical. So I think at least until the fall, there will be a honeymoon, and after that, we'll need to see some results.
So you said the magic word, or two words there, energy superpower. That term, I think, was first started to be used by Stephen Harper, and that when by energy superpower, he generally meant it to mean Alberta and Saskatchewan, oil and gas, plus Newfoundland offshore, etc. But we meant it as pretty much conventional and non-conventional oil and gas. Mark Carney has, though, started to say it. Pierre Poilievre had been saying it. Mark Carney started to use this verbiage, and he is a bit more ambiguous about it. Sometimes he would elaborate and say renewable and conventional. Okay. He is, I think, proven to be a surprisingly good political communicator in saying things that avoid pissing off the broad mass of people. But eventually he will have to make decisions that will piss off people. Because generally you can't satisfy both groups at the same time.
You're doing it wrong if you are.
Yeah. How are you reading when Mark Carney says we're going to make Canada an energy superpower? How inclusive do you think he means on the oil and gas side? Because he generally avoids saying the words oil and gas. He has from time to time said the word conventional and renewable.
Yeah. Well, I guess time will tell, but I will say, what is an energy superpower? It is someone who's able to use their resources and leverage it to advance their interests on the global stage. It's not the percentage of renewables that you use. It's not your emissions per capita. That doesn't make an energy superpower. And speaking of OPEC, who we have for energy superpowers today, basically where, this consensus, Saudi Arabia, Russia, the United States. Those are energy superpowers. And China on the critical mineral side, you would say that they're also a superpower. In that they have enough market sway and dominance that they can, again, leverage to advance their interests. And so Canada certainly has the resources of an energy superpower. We know in the oil sands, we are the third largest exporter, fourth largest producer, and fourth largest reserves. We know with natural gas, with the Montney, with the Duvernay, we have an excellent world-class, beyond 100 years of reserve. And we know in the Athabasca Basin, Saskatchewan, we have uranium, again, the last decades, if not a century. So we have the resources, but we have never used it in a political way as a superpower would use it. We've never used it to advance our leverage and our influence in the world. Now, Carney is starting to say some things. They announced their G7 agenda, which was at least one of the three pillars was building energy security. And you do know that when the G7 come here and all the other partners, our NATO partners, European partners, Japan, Korea, there's one thing that they look at Canada for, and that's to fill their energy and resource needs, in particular energy. And I think Carney's no dummy. I think he knows this. So he may have to speak, in vaguer terms. But at the end of the day, if we're not getting more oil and gas and critical minerals to our allies, then we're not acting like a superpower. And in fact, we're letting them down because they actually need those things right now.
We've got larger proven oil and gas reserves than Russia, but Russia is able to. It's not just purely dollars and cents for them. They use it for exerting their influence on a geopolitical level. That's how they are able to keep Germany from going completely hostile against them. That was
definitely part of the dynamic. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a reason that the United States or Ukraine blew up Nord Stream because it. I think it wanted to sever that relationship between Germany and Russia, because Russia is very successful at energy politics. Hypothetically, if Canada had been more aggressive in building our energy export infrastructure, the United States would have had to think twice about screwing with us because we would be able to retaliate. Not that I'm actually in favor of using Alberta's resources to save Ontario and Quebec after the way we've been treated for so long, but the United States would at least think twice about it if we had been perhaps more strategic in building ourselves up into an energy superpower. Yeah. I think that's right. It's not just having a lot of power. It's having the ability to use it, to leverage it in other streams of politics.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, you know, we allowed ourselves to be a junior partner in this regional context when we had the resources and frankly the exports of a global player. And so that was a mistake. And I think with Trans Mountain and very soon with LNG Canada, at least that will be recalibrated somewhat. But we should want to do more of that. We should want a Northern Gateway. We should want a Prince Rupert gas transmission. We should want more LNG. So we'll see if we do that. But, you know, again, when our allies actually need it, we were looking at shale probably production peaking. Even the EIA for the first time today I saw actually predicted 2026 shale peak. I think they'll probably come before that. But think in 10 years from now in a context where American oil production has declined, when we see that global demand and global population is still increasing, and which is the democracy that is going to be filling some of that global demand. It can't just be that OPEC and Russia just get more and more market share. We absolutely need to fill some gap. Some of this is just so necessary that I think it's inevitable that we will have to have a Northern Gateway. We'll have to have a Keystone XL one day. The question is how much money, how much pain, how much tears for us to get it.
I don't know if that's optimistic or sad. It's such a Canadian thing. All right, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate your expertise, and we'll be seeing you around the show.
Great. Thanks so much.